Hello and welcome back to A Journey to King's Cross, a Harry Potter book podcast. We'll be doing...
Who's joining us today?
Joining us today
is
Brady,
the cat.
Mitch, and Rumple the cat.
Get it right, guys. Rumpelstiltskin.
Full names here. Rumpelstiltskin, our cat, and me, of course, Kimmy. Join us for our analysis dissection of Chapter 2 of Harry Potter, The Prisoner of Azkaban.
Oh, what's the title of the chapter?
Oh, our chapter title? I can't talk today, apparently, is Aunt Marge's Big Mistake.
We're a little out of practice, folks.
Yeah.
I don't know if there was a big mistake. It was a lot of mistakes.
A lot of small ones.
It's more like Aunt Marge is big.
I know, it was a pun.
Because...
That's not wizardry, though. That's an anaphylactic reaction. She needs an EpiPen.
It's probably how they could have explained it. And then hallucination of flying because she couldn't breathe.
Yep.
On the cover,
she was having an
art,
out-of-body experience.
On the cover, of course, we have Aunt Marge turning into a balloon, which is done pretty well, all things considering.
Yeah.
Hovering off of her chair, which, man, I'm surprised that chair didn't shatter before she started floating.
To be fair, I figured she was inflating like a balloon, so I don't think the chair was in any danger of actually being broken, especially given how the book describes...
I wonder if Jimmy's making a reference to before she got blown up by Harry.
Yeah, that too.
Well, you know what? They needed something for Vernon and everything, so unless she's, ridiculously bigger than Vernon, I think the chairs would have been okay.
It's fair. It starts off, of course, the chapter, it talks about Harry going downstairs to breakfast, and they had a new TV because Dudley complained about the walk between the fridge and the television in the living room, so they put one in the kitchen.
Jeez.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. That's a long...
As
someone whose kitchen is practically part of my living room...
It's too long of a walk.
Oh my goodness.
And, you live in a tiny American home.
You know what? Dudley would be so excited to know that you could have a TV on your fridge now.
Oh, dear God.
You could just have one door open on the fridge, eating, and the other just looking at the other side of the door with the TV on it.
He would.
It's his dream come true.
We got TVs.
Well, let's be real. British houses are not that big.
From our understanding.
From our understanding, they're not that big. So, that walk is not that far.
Maybe 5 feet. Man, Rowling goes so far out of her way to describe how morbidly obese these people are.
I don't like the character of Aunt Marge, but to be perfectly honest, Rowling is very scathing when it comes to certain people's appearances in some of these stories. I'm just sort of she makes me uncomfortable, because I know for a fact I could be a little judgy and stuff along those lines, but Jesus, I'm going a little farther, aren't we?
She went at it hard.
I'm convinced this woman was hurt in some way, shape, or form by a very large person who's been holding a grudge ever since.
That's what it sounds like. I mean, describing all, Marge and Vernon and Dudley, how do they even walk? It's you should just roll them down the street.
Doesn't she say that Dudley waddles at some point?
I think so.
Ironically enough, I do believe this is one of the very few chapters where both Harry and Petunia seem to be of the same mind. Neither of them seem to really like having Aunt Marge around.
No. Marge brings her dog.
And making a mess and everything. You can see, there was a couple of moments where, Aunt Petunia's wincing because of the mess that's being caused by, the dog and everything.
Yeah. But I would also suspect that, we've been told that Petunia is skinny, bony. And Marge is big. And has made a few comments in this chapter about a big, healthy boy.
Will become a
big, healthy
decently sized man.
Decently sized man.
Or
unlike you, Harry.
Sized man, yeah.
So I can only imagine that she has made comments to Petunia about Petunia being skinny.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was at least some point in time, because this woman doesn't seem like the type of person who gives a damn about other people's feelings, and probably would have no qualms. And I also feel like some of this might be a bit of a backhanded comment towards Petunia in a sense. She apologizes about the family comments and stuff, but could you imagine, like, being like, imagine if there was a girl that was basically the exact same size as you, sitting next to you, and somebody else was just ripping into them all the while, apologizing to you about, being connected to this person, basically. You would probably feel a little irritated with that person as well, even if you're not the one directly getting insulted, in a sense.
Listen, okay, we've had shit with my brother. And even when I was ticked off at him, 100% you better believe that if someone was going to tear him down that was not part of my family, I was going to jump up and defend him. I was not going to stand for it.
I mean, fair.
So,
present company excluded.
You are family.
Aw, yay. I know this. But also, I'm not a blood relative.
The other thing that popped up was Harry sending off Hedwig and everything. And all I can think to myself is that probably would have been for the best regardless of whether or not the Hogsmeade trip was on the line.
The minute Marge was like, why do you have an exotic pet? Doesn't make sense. Give it to Dudley.
Yeah.
Or
they could have.
She'd set the dog on her.
They could have explained
That'd be one
Hedwig
dead
as...
dog, because I don't think Hedwig's going to take shit from anybody.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Ripper would be dead, and Hedwig would be having a very nice meal.
I'm sure that if Hedwig had stayed, yes, Marge would have made a comment about, well, why does Harry have this bird?
School project.
I feel like someone would have, scrambled and been like, we've tried. It's a wild animal. She won't leave.
So better to keep her caged inside than flying around scaring the neighbors.
Or something like that, yeah.
Or could have said it's a school project.
I have to admit,
project, but
the phrasing though of when Vernon's talking about his job and everything, did we ever figure out if it was actually Vernon who owned Grunnings or if he just was high up?
Yeah,
because it mentioned his company.
It says Grunnings, his drill making company.
Yeah, so it implies ownership of the company. But I could have sworn there was some confusion about that at some point.
Because we talked about it in the last.
He works as the director.
Okay.
So
how is that different from
Is he like British? The CEO then? He doesn't own the company, but he runs it?
I mean...
Does J.K. Rowling not know how businesses are run?
Considering she went from being a person who was scraping to get gas money and stuff out of this book to basically becoming a millionaire, I don't know how well she would know British, factory work. Just
or even the management chain.
Yeah, it'd be like asking me about freaking construction work or something along those lines and how that whole thing works. I haven't the foggiest. I've never worked construction a day in my life.
Fair. Me either.
But
it just says, so if you go to the Wikia page, it says founded before 1975, leaders, Vernon Dursley, director.
So we're still not, we still have confirmation one or the other.
I'm gonna look up what the...
I need to stop obsessing over shit that's not even remotely important. I find that, the inner workings of the Dursleys and stuff along those lines may be something I find interesting, but I doubt everybody else does. Oh, man. Let's see. I do find it kind of funny, though, that Dudley has to be bribed to put up with this woman as well. I'm convinced the only person in this house that actually likes her is Vernon himself. Jeez.
He might not actually like her. He might just be family, so forced to be pleasant.
Okay, so a director is ordinarily someone appointed to manage a company's business and affairs. So it sounds like he's part of the board.
Yeah.
I
guess that makes sense.
So he's not the CEO, but he's...
he's an upper middle class business executive.
Board. Yeah.
Then it's kind of wild he doesn't have a vacation home of his own at this point, to be honest. If he's been working at this company and in charge of this company.
For 20 years.
Yeah. What is he doing with his damn money that so much that,
Spending money on sending his kid to
I'd like
school?
Food?
Food.
Considering
all the gifts.
Dudley was at
all the gifts that Dudley breaks.
It could also be one of those situations of they have plenty of money but don't spend it that often.
Yeah, they could be penny pinching.
Except for when it comes to food and Dudley.
Well, that's necessity.
To be fair, though, it could just be like he works hard for his money. He's not going to spend it They have a nice house.
I mean, you're not wrong in that department, but the fact that he made such a big deal about getting a vacation home last year and everything does make me kind of question. Like, you know what I mean? He strikes me as the type of person that would be more than happy to brag about the fact that he's got a vacation home somewhere important. That he's got, you know what I mean? Like, they bragged about the car. They bragged about the car, the company car, which I do find kind of amusing in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. And to be fair, though, it could also be one of those situations where, yeah, he'd want to brag about having money, but also, like, doesn't want to be in debt to get a new home. The new business deal would have gotten him plenty of money to have a new home, pay the taxes on it, and still be able to just man it without debt. Because I don't know what UK laws are on, like, owning a second home.
Fair. To be fair, I don't even know what American laws are.
I fear here
what laws? Pretty sure you're just allowed to own whatever property you want, as long as you can pay for it. Fair.
Yeah, you just can't get tax return money on anything outside your primary. Your primary residence. Let's see here. I do find it kind of funny, though, is we know for a fact that Harry's unwilling to actually try and forge the signature, but he's not above blackmail.
Oh, yeah, because he's like, I don't know, Uncle Vernon. She won't forget something if I accidentally let it slip.
Like, come on, Harry. What's less bad? Blackmail or forgery?
I do find it kind of funny and everything, and kind of concerning that Vernon's automatic impulse is to beat him. Like, full-on fist. Like, I've been angry at my kids and stuff along those lines for doing some stupid shit, but outside of raising my voice, the idea of punching them has never crossed my mind. Hell, the idea of punching any child, like, I mean, if I were to ever punch a kid, you would have had to that kid would have had to have riled me up to such a degree that
I don't know. I'd want to punch a kid sometimes. So I'm like, no, can't punch a kid.
Never been so ticked off at anybody, adult or child, that I felt that like I needed to punch them with that much force that like you're getting from Vernon, and like to actually hurt them.
To be fair, though, when you've got a lot of fucking weight in your fist anyway, any hard blow's gonna hurt.
Right. I've been pissed off enough at my kids when they were going through tantrums, and before I was having my ADHD under control, where I felt the urge to be physical, but never to punch them.
Not a punch. Maybe a slap. A smack.
A spank. That's it. But nothing to the level that you're getting in the book.
Yeah, because it says that he has his... You'll get the stuffing knocked out of you, won't you, with his fist raised. Like, okay, Vernon, chill back. We also get the first... if I can talk... The first name of the cover story for Where Harry Goes all school year. St. Brutus's Secure Center for Incurably Criminal Boys.
Pretty sure it's just a juvie hall.
That's what it sounds like. And of course, Marge is like, they beat you there? And he's like, oh yeah, all the time. You get beat often? Loads.
You seem too nonchalant about this.
They gotta beat you harder.
I love how she looked at Petunia. You might want to write to them.
Oh, God.
Well, yeah. Vernon doesn't deal with the kids. It's Petunia's job to manage the children's affairs.
But then...
well, she is a stay-at-home mom. My thought process has always kind of been on that mindset. If one person can stay at home and everything, they have to deal with the responsibilities of the household. The other person goes to work and makes the money.
As long as that's an agreed-upon arrangement to begin with.
Notice I didn't say which one was the man and which one was the woman.
Yeah.
Just the person that was staying home.
No, because you would have no problem being a stay-at-home parent.
Yeah, I'd probably get a lot more writing done that way.
But you wouldn't. There's so much cleaning to do all the time.
You make that sound like me and my wife are like super parent. Like I'm not like my grandmother who has to have her house completely
White glove
organized.
clean.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
no.
could settle for like normal clean.
That's fair, but like also keeping things normal clean is all that. Do you laundry? You're never done doing laundry. There's always more laundry to wash. You might think you're done, but then you get changed for your clothes at bed at night, and boom, more laundry.
I have a laundry system already. I've got that handled, and both of us work.
Laundry's the worst. I hate laundry.
I'd rather put up with laundry than washing dishes. I'll tell you that right now. Fuck dishes.
I'd rather wash dishes.
You want to go do ours? We'll do laundry.
Sure. Come over and do my laundry, and I'll come over and do your dishes.
You stole my cat.
He's cold.
Mean. I'm now cold. Go get me
I don't
a
think he was
blanket.
warming you that much.
You'd be surprised what a body can do when it's on the right spot.
His body weighs like 6 pounds.
Yeah, well, that's about like he. What, he was 13 at full height.
I'm curious of what kind of dog Ripper is.
He's a bulldog.
Did they mention that?
Yep.
Oh, my bad. Then fuck that shit. I don't like bulldogs. They are.
That's also why she made the mention about drool being everywhere.
Oh yeah.
To be fair, I'm not the biggest fan of bulldogs
Aunt
myself.
Petunia probably has OCD.
Think so?
Well, yeah, because she immediately she winces. She has a physical reaction to her clean floor getting specks of tea and drool on it. And she doesn't like animals, which some people with OCD have animals, but if you're like super like everything clean, clean, you tend to not like animals, which cause disruption to your clean system.
I do find it kind of confusing in terms of how magic works and stuff, because in this moment, Harry unconsciously expands an individual without magic word or wand on him, blows open the door underneath the actual cover, grabs all of his shit basically, with like no magic spell casting, no wand movement, no hand movement, just pure thought. And all
Emotion?
I could think all I could think to myself, if you were capable of doing that just regularly and stuff, you'd be a comic book character instead of a wizard.
Yeah.
True, but I think it's one of those situations where it's mentioned like children have magical children have vast amounts of its magical potential, that it is very highly tied to your emotions, hence why we get Obscuri later. It's very tied to your emotions, that you can perform greater magic as a child than intended. Because if you think about it, like going through puberty and stuff, all your emotions are going to be out of whack, so your magic is going to be out of whack.
There is no actual explanation for how any of that actually works in the series.
Not actually, but there's a little bit. If you take all the bits and pieces that we learn and put them all together, because they mention, like, when Dumbledore's sister was...
Ariana.
She got overly excited, magic broke loose, nobody knew what was happening.
That was because she was intentionally, willfully preventing her magic from actually activating for an extended period of time.
Well, no, they were mentioning, like, when they had the fight.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about.
She was already technically an Obscuri.
But she was bottling it up.
Yeah,
so
because
the
she got
explosion
beat up
wasn't
as a kid.
just because of her natural ability or anything. It was the fact that it was literally like taking a bottle and shaking it and everything in that moment.
Right.
And she didn't hurt anybody or kill anybody in that moment. She's the one who ended up dying. So it kind of goes against what you're saying from my perspective.
Well, no,
because she didn't really do anything in terms of what she wanted to do with magical intent.
Right, but that's what I'm saying is, like, but she is an Obscuri special case. He's already on heightened emotion, ready to get his shit and go, so his magic was able to respond to his wants and desires due to his high emotions. I was just comparing the situations of, like, the magic being, if you take the magic being tied to your emotions, again, for Obscuri, they push down their magic because they're scared of their magic being discovered, or they're scared of it, and then it ends up exploding later. Harry's already aware of his magic, so his emotions tied to his wants and needs and helping him. but that's not necessarily adult wizards might be able to do because their potential or attunement of or uncontrollable emotions aren't as in line.
Molly disproves that theory.
Why?
Because she killed Bellatrix Lestrange in a moment of anger at the age of in her 40s or 50s and stuff along those lines. The other issue is that during Book 7, Dumbledore explicitly states that Harry, being as young as he is in terms of his abilities and his magic, is so weak in terms of magical power that any curses or charms that would prevent him from going across the boat with Dumbledore wouldn't do anything. Like, he's so unimportant that any certain magics that would prevent too many powerful people in the boat at the same time wouldn't even recognize him on the weighing scale.
I think that's more because that specifically is they don't consider a child as a fully recognized wizard, even if they could do. I don't think it was that his magic was weak. It's just that because he doesn't register as a full-blooded wizard yet, because he's not an adult, because Voldemort underestimated children.
I don't believe that is anywhere in any of the texts that I've actually read and everything. I'm putting it up there and making these comments not to try and explain how the system of magic works. It is more of the magic system is inconsistent.
Oh, I agree with that too.
And it contradicts itself in many different ways, and it's very irritating in a sense, because it's like, on certain points in the story, Harry is considered very weak by the magic of the universe and stuff along those lines. In other occasions, Harry is considered very powerful and very capable. And in other occasions, he's treated like a child. In other occasions, he's treated as if he's an adult. Like, I'm pretty confident in the Order of the Phoenix and stuff along those lines. They literally have this argument between Molly and Black and stuff along those lines, where Harry explicitly mentions the fact that I've done all of these things and stuff that most full-grown wizards are never even considered tackling, and yet still basically get treated like a child at the grown-up table.
Sir, basically. You are a child.
Yeah, the problem being is that he's taken on a basilisk at this point, fought off multiple times, Dementors and stuff,
and
went through a full-grown tournament and stuff along those lines. It was specifically set up for, of-age wizards, and of course faced Voldemort 3 times over the course of that time period.
Yeah, but that's also not the book series treating him as a child, it's the people in the series treating him as a child, because, again, from Molly's point and that point is, you're a child, you should be treated like a child, you shouldn't have had to go through all these things, we're not going to purposely put you through more of it, is her view of it.
To which,
but the book still,
I'm not saying that it's her specifically, I'm saying that the world itself bounces, the actual, universe of Harry Potter itself bops back and forth between treating Harry as a powerful wizard or a child, and that's the inconsistency that irritates me. Molly, acting like a mother and treating Harry like a child does not irritate me in any way, shape, or form one parent to another. My problem is the universe itself.
Which I think I might disagree with you on this point, because again, this instance, Harry's doing wandless magic.
And wordless magic.
And wordless magic, which is more tied to the wants and desires. Kind of like, because they, in the different instances where they talk about magic kids have done as children, that it has been more tied to emotions and things like that. I don't know how the Weasley twins turned Ron's teddy bear into a spider.
That also raises a couple of questions on how this shit works.
But it also sounds like something that children, they would somehow try and figure out how to do if you have magical abilities and you're able to experiment with them before you go to school, and it gets controlled with a wand that helps you focus your energy.
But that's what made Voldemort so unique when Dumbledore met him, was the fact that he had such amazing control over his magic without a wand and out in the actual formal training. So it starts either this is diminishing Voldemort in a sense that what he's doing wasn't necessarily as impressive as it seemed, or there are a lot of kids in the Harry Potter universe that are potentially a lot more powerful than are given credit for, in a sense.
Maybe I would say that in that instance with Voldemort, it doesn't diminish his power because he actually had good control on it. His magic did what he wanted it to do when he wanted it to do it. Other children, it was probably more you had a lot of accidents. I think it's mentioned in some of the supplementary text, but like things just happen accidentally. And sure, sometimes you could try and have them happen on purpose, but that also explains why Harry in this moment, his magic responded the way he wanted it to because his need and emotions were so in tune that the magic responded correctly, putting him very powerful.
In book 1,
like
they
Voldemort.
explicitly state that he has been doing this with a lot less emotional strain on him. Like the sweater that shrunk, or being sent up on top of the roof to avoid the gang and everything. Like, strong emotions were not necessarily described in those incidents and stuff along those lines. And even when they were such a much lower stakes than what's happening here that technically this should have popped off sooner instead of as long as it did.
But he was also fighting to stay in control for this instance. And again, he knows he has magic, so he's fighting to keep his magic under control. He knew he shattered a glass, so he's trying to stay under control.
It never stated that he was trying to keep control of his magic, just control of himself.
Yeah, but his magic responded, and he knew, like, oh, I can't do that. Because when the glass shatters, he knew it was him who made the glass shatter, knowing it was his magic. He was like, no, gotta stay under control. What do you mean, no?
I don't follow your line of logic, and I don't...
But it says specifically with the glass that he's like, I have to avoid that because not only are underage wizards not supposed to do magic, but he could go to Azkaban. He's like, I'll get expelled for doing magic around Muggles. It says that in the book. He
cares about it 2 seconds later, that's for damn sure, when he points his wand at his uncle.
He cares a lot less because he's like, well, I've already blown her up. I already did that, so I'm already fucked. Might as well get out of here.
That's not where I'm going with any of this, though. His primary concern throughout most of this is the fact that he's trying to control his temper, not his magic.
Yeah, but his magic is tied into his emotions.
Yeah, which is why Snape bursts into flames every time Snape pisses him off.
Look, man.
I'm
not saying it's a perfect system.
I'm pointing out the inconsistencies of the universe.
Okay,
you want to keep trying to hammer me.
Yes,
you keep trying to hammer me down. I will find every little example of a contradiction in how this universe works. I can nitpick with the best of them.
You're right. It doesn't quite make sense, but maybe being at Hogwarts, you have your wand on you all the time, which helps immediately. It's like a dampening collar.
Yeah, we're just
the minute you have it.
We're just grasping at straws here because we still don't even understand how
that's the whole point of this.
The trace is confusing I do
agree
as well.
That, yes,
because with how quick past incidences of magic was actually casted and stuff, you'd think that would have been an owl before the fucking second attempt. Because in the movie, at least it all happened in one night. This happens over the course of multiple days and stuff along those lines with the explosion of the glass before eventually going to the blowing up of Aunt Marge. So it's kind of wild to me that they never got a magical note or something along those lines in that time frame.
Because there's a dangerous wizard on the loose and they didn't want to alert Harry to the...
I feel like that would be a bigger concern, since Sirius Black was thought to be going after Harry. If magic's going off near him, they'd be even more panicky than they normally are.
Yes, but he's also an underage wizard.
Look, even more concerned.
Yes, exactly!
You're right. Now we're getting into more of the inconsistencies.
They should have... I feel like if...
The second this gone off...
They're paying less attention because of Sirius. I feel like...
They should have been
that they think this should have been after Harry.
This should have been a we have wizards on you at all times moment like in book 5.
Yeah.
It's wild to me that that's not actually happening, considering how far. Well, Dumbledore was the one who was keeping an eye on him.
Alternatively, having a bunch of ministry employees surrounding this seemingly innocuous Muggle village might also tip Sirius Black off to, wonder if Harry lives there.
He already knew though. Because he shows up in the next chapter.
Oh, yeah, because he's literally the dog right there.
Yeah, he's literally the freaking dog that shows.
But they don't know he knows.
Fucking hell. Like, this guy was
ministry, it dumb.
They dumb.
There's plenty of occasions where all I've thought to myself is the ministry just needs to get, completely scrapped and rebuilt from the ground up.
Yep.
I do not share Rowling's...
American government, too. What?
Yes, pretty much.
Hi, Pixie. The other cat wants attention now,
Uh-oh.
But anyway, you're right. The magic doesn't make sense. I'm just trying to give it a little bit of credit, but you're right. Overall, we know that the magic makes no sense. It has no rules.
I love my consistencies and stuff along those lines, and all I could think to myself is there's a lot of like little phrases and explanations they could have potentially thrown around to really smooth all this shit over, and the fact that it wasn't given even time of day is kind of annoying.
I apologize.
What?
Never mind.
I got nothing. Anyway, we're like 30 minutes in. This has been a relatively short thing. Like, we probably have spent most of our time going back and forth over the consistencies of the magic of the universe more than actually talking about the chapter, but it's really not a super eventful one. Marge shows up, she causes Harry no end of grief and stuff along those lines, gets blown up, and Harry bolts out, basically.
I like how Vernon tries to stop him. Like, stop, put her right. Really? You want to do that right now? Wand in the face.
The movie did it better when he cowered back, like, okay!
To be perfectly honest, like, how much Vernon fears Harry seems to vary from scene to scene in terms of what's relevant to the plot.
Yeah.
I think it's as long as Harry doesn't actively act like he's a wizard, Vernon's like, I can overpower him, it's no big deal. But the minute Harry reminds him that magic is real, Vernon's like, shit, fuck.
What was give me a little twerp. Oh, no.
Right, you can Death Stick.
Death Stick. What are the many nicknames for the Horcrux wand?
No, Deathly Hallows wand. The Elder
No, it's one of the nicknames. It was explained in the final
book.
Yeah,
you called it a
Horcrux wand.
Not the Horcrux.
Not a Horcrux.
The Elder one.
Elder wand.
The Elder wand.
Deathly Hallows wand.
Yeah, my bad on that one.
Hollows.
I could not remember the fucking name of that stupid
Remember?
one.
Hollows, not Horcruxes. That was the difference.
Alright, smart ass.
But was it?
But
look, man, you're the one who invited me to do this podcast with you.
A decision I regret every minute of the day.
Yeah, keep telling yourself that.
Yeah, but could you have convinced Brandy to do it with just you? Just Probably. The two of you?
It doesn't take much to convince her of anything. She'd just be a lot quieter. I'd be talking at you most of the time, but she'd be here.
Yep.
Look, tying her up and gagging her, then forcing her to be part of the podcast, doesn't actually make her a part of the podcast.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
It just makes me a hostage.
It's just a hostage.
Details
are very important in this situation.
Not really. No, not at all. Technically speaking, it wouldn't. I don't really know how a hostage situation would technically work since I'm holding her in her own home, in the place that she never wants to frickin' leave, ever, at all.
I don't want to leave my home. You're lucky I come over here.
That's a fair point.
If we could figure out how to do this where I didn't have to leave my house, you'd be seeing a lot less of me.
Yeah, but
that's a lie.
You would miss seeing us.
I do miss you guys.
I would like correct the statement, and instead of an us, it would be a Brandy. You'd miss Brandy.
It's true. I would.
Anyway, do we really have anything else to really add for this chapter, though?
Marge is a horrible person and should not be breeding dogs.
Good thing she doesn't breed.
Oh, God.
Well, she shouldn't be breeding dogs either.
Right. If she thinks that you get rid of a dog by drowning it, like, somebody would adopt that dog. Don't be a bitch.
Yeah.
It's the 90s. This isn't the 2000s.
They had euthanasia back then, too. In the 90s. They didn't have to drown dogs.
I guess one of my bigger issues is that she's like, if there's something wrong with the bitch, there's something wrong with the pup.
I still can't get over the fact that line was in there.
It's not the breed, it's the owner. Okay?
Ripper
is a terrible bulldog because you are a terrible owner.
See, I can't believe, I do find it kind of wild the dog bit fucking Vernon of all people, basically. When Vernon's trying to help, the dog is just sort of like an evil little thing.
Yep. I tell you what, I don't want to be that dog's vet.
She doesn't strike me as the type of person that would trust vets.
That's also why she shouldn't be breeding. Because you know what? We'd be like, that dog needs trazodone and gabapentin and ACE. And she would just be like, he doesn't need that. He's fine. He's my perfect little angel. Ma'am, your dog's teeth are falling out of his head, and we can't get blood to check his kidney levels. He is a demon because he's trying to eat us.
Dog has fucking rabies at this point.
She'd still say it's her precious little angel as it bites her and kills her.
It probably does have rabies because she doesn't believe in the vet.
Take your pets to the vet.
This has been our PSA.
At least take your dogs to the vet. Get your cats checked out too.
Cats do more than just vaccines. They need blood work too.
Keep your cats inside though.
Keep them inside.
And don't forget to spay and neuter. We got enough of them running around.
Yep.
But anyway, I don't have much more to say, so if you want to find more of my content, you can find it at Luna's Creation Corner on most social media.
You can find me on YouTube at Brandywine Stitches and everywhere else at Hockeytown Candle Co.
Cole Sanders on Twitch. I've been playing mostly Persona 4 Golden. I'm slowly going through it. I only stream for about an hour a day, twice a week basically, so not really super crazy in terms of time that I get to spend on that. Anyway, I think we're all wrapped up here, and we will see you next time. So please
press the like button, comment, subscribe,
and ring the little bell notification as well while you're at it.
Ill.
It's not my fault. I can't speak English today. Apparently, hold on. I gotta put my teeth back in.
Until next time, keep your wands at the ready.